Alright, everyone, hello, hello, hello. I know it's a little late, but welcome back to another episode of the Overwatch League Fan Thoughts and Analysis. Today, we are talking about the Atlanta Reign, the first of the expansion teams, the Atlanta Reign. We are, of course, going to jump right in, starting with their DPS play. Obviously, this team does not have any kind of history because they are an expansion team, so they're brand new. Not a lot of players on this team, only 8. So we'll jump into it. We'll start with their DPS, and we're going to start with Erster, who comes from Lucky Future Zenith, who, of course, found a lot of success in China. If you look at what they've done, and he also played for Ardiant too. Not Ardiant too. He played for the team called Ardiant as well. But Lucky Future Zenith won Contenders 2018 Season 1 and Season 2 for China. The Land Story Cup 2018 in Chengdu, they won that. They won the qualifier for that. With Ardiant, he won the Overwatch Pacific Championship for 2017 in Season 2 and the Season 2 promotion. He won Nexus Cup 2016 Korean qualifier with Mighty AOD. So he's had some success, and he's going to be your Genji, your Pharah, most likely. That's going to be the route that he goes. He's going to be your more projectile-based hero. He's not going to be the hit scan, because we will talk about the hit scan in a little bit. We know who the hit scan player will be for this team. You pair him with NLAAER or NLAR. I have no idea how you are supposed to pronounce that, but his hero pool, he's got that Tracer, he's got that McCree, got that Widowmaker, so he is also going to be on that more hit scan side as opposed to the more projectile side. So Erster, who is a name that I have definitely heard before his joining of the Atlanta Reign, he will definitely be a starter, I think. I think he's going to be your projectile starter. Then you have NLAAER, Nalar. I have no idea. N-Layer. Who knows? He is going to be more of a hit scan player, and I don't think he's going to start because the Atlanta Reign has another hit scan player who is very, very, very well known. And he is Dafran, of course. Dafran, coming from Denmark, one of the best mechanically skilled players in Overwatch. Hasn't played in professional play for a while. He kind of had some issues just with the game, so he had stopped playing professionally. But he's back now. His Soldier 76 is exceptionally incredible. He's got some Tracer, some Sombra, McCree, Torbjorn. So I think we'll be seeing a lot of Dafran for this team. He is by far the biggest signing this team has. He is kind of the central player this team has. He's the player that is on this roster that is their star. So we'll see how he does. Maybe he's not great. But he's known for being very good. And it's the question is, of course, will he be able to make it through an entire season of pro play? There's already been some questions surrounding Dafran. He's a very, very interesting person, and he's a very kind of, I don't even know the word to use. He's very indecisive. He's very kind of rash, and he just kind of makes decisions. I think that might not be the best. He's known in the past he threw games. So I don't know if Dafran will be able to last the season. We'll see how things go for him, but he is this team's big signing, and they expect a lot of good things from him. So we'll see how he does. I'm excited to see what Dafran does, but that is their DPS score. I'd expect Erster and Dafran to be the two main ones playing most of the time. But next, we will look at their flex tank and their tanks. which we start off with Daco coming from Element Mystic, who were not a they were good in Contenders Korea. They never won. They got they were semifinalists in season 2, Korea, losing to Runaway 3-1, who later won the whole thing. In season 1 for Contenders, they did not make it that far. They were quarterfinalists, losing to O2 Ardiant. But they won some qualifiers and some minors in the past. They got third at Nexus Cup 2017, losing to Kongdu Panthera. So they have some losses to some pretty good teams, and some of those places where they finished really high in the bracket and whatnot. So Daco's coming from a good team. He's coming from a team that has found success in the past. I think he will be a fine player. I have no reason not to believe so. He's going to be playing mostly D.Va, I'm sure. Maybe a little bit of Zarya. I don't know if he plays a lot of Zarya, but I'm sure we will definitely be seeing a lot of him on D.Va. He is their only flex tank, so I expect him to play a lot. This team doesn't have a lot of subs, and we'll show you even more so why this team doesn't have a lot of subs in a second here, but also, sorry if you can hear people walking around upstairs. I usually try to record late at night, but I want to get this out as quickly as possible since it's already late. But yeah, I mean, Daco's going to play a lot. I think he's had success in the past. I don't know how many people from Element Mystic from this past season have made it in the Overwatch League. I don't think it's a lot. That might be a lie. That might be a lie. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5. So yeah, so there's a good amount, but it's not too bad. But yeah, that's Daco, and that's their D.Va player. Next, we're going to look at their main tanks, and we're going to start with Pakpo, who is from Element Mystic, so should have figured that out pretty quickly. He's going to be their main tank. They're both from South Korea, of course. He played for Element Mystic for a lot less time. He played for them in Contenders Season 1 and Season 2 of 2018. But he is going to be their main tank as well. They do have another main tank on the team, and it's Gator. But he is a two-way player for Atlanta, both for Atlanta Reign and Atlanta Academy. The claim to fame for Gator here is he is a former member of the GOATS team, which popularized the GOATS meta. Then he went to Last Night's Leftovers. So he's had some time in the past playing with some of these teams that are pretty good. But obviously he's a two-way player, so he has time to improve and get better at his at his game sense. But he's someone that I don't think we'll see a lot of. I think we'll see mostly Pakpo. Obviously, he is the one that isn't a two-way player, so he's going to play most of the games. But we might see Gator occasionally. But I'm curious to see how much we actually see Gator. So I think this front line, South Korean front line, is going to be very, very good. We saw something similar with Philadelphia Fusion. They had that South Korean front line late in the season, and they worked really, really well. So it's a good looking team in my opinion. Especially this tank core. The DPS core is not bad. I'm curious to see how much of that will play a part in their success. But it's a very interesting team at this point, without even getting to the supports, which we're going to talk about here in a second. But that Korean front line, I think, will be good, especially because they played with each other in the past. That's something really, really good. You can't undersell when two players have history playing with each other. So keep that in mind with this team, because I think we will see them work well together purely because they have that history. But let's move on to the supports for this team. There are 2 of them, obviously, since I mentioned there were 8 players. We talked about 6. First, we have Kodak. He is most likely going to be their off healer, mostly their Zenyatta, their Ana. He does also have some time in Mercy, and also, interestingly enough, has some time on D.Va. So if if they need someone to play D.Va that isn't Dako, then maybe we'll see Kodak on D.Va. But he is going to be your off support. He played for the German World Cup team at the Paris qualifier this past summer. It was in September, actually, so because that wasn't really the summer. So he played for them. In contenders, he was playing for Snakes, or Six Snakes, finishing in the top 8 for Contenders 2018 Season 2, and in the 11 through 12 in the Season 1 of Contenders Europe. But they got first in Contenders Season 2 Trials, so they've shown that they're successful. They've shown that they're good enough to be in that top group. They just haven't had that success of going all the way. So there is some big stuff for Kodak, and he's got some history, and I think he'll be a good support player, and it'll be interesting to see how he translates to the Overwatch League. But the next support player is Masa, who comes from Team Giganti in Europe. He's going to be your main healer, your Lucio, your Mercy, whatnot. Team Giganti got third or fourth. They were semifinalists for Season 2 Contenders 2018 Europe. They got first at Assembly 2018 Summer something. I don't even know what this is, but it's just a minor tournament. They got second in Contenders 2018 Season 1 in Europe. They won Assembly Winter 2018. They won Grail Quest 2017. So they have some wins under their belt. But of course, the big things that Team Giganti has done is they've been top 4 in Contenders and second in Contenders. So relatively successful team. This guy comes from a relatively successful team, moves into a team that is completely new and is a bunch of people who don't really have experience with each other, with the exception of Dako and Pokpo. This will be one of the most interesting teams, I think, to watch this season. I don't think they are the worst by any stretch of the imagination in this conference, or in this division. Their head coach is Sefi, who was formerly the head coach for the San Francisco Shock. So he's had some, time. He coached last night's Leftovers. So he has some players, of course, that he knows on this roster. So I look at this team, and it's one of the more interesting teams to me just because they don't have that history, right? It's a lot of players that are kind of thrown together, and they don't have that time together. And that's what's going to happen, of course, when you start a team up for the first time, usually, is you're not going to have that season of experience under your belt on the Overwatch League stage. Now, obviously, you have some playtime. You can hear my chair, probably. Ugh. You have some, time on some of these bigger groups and some of these bigger teams on some of these bigger stages, contenders, or some people played in Apex, whatnot. So they have some experience, but none of these players have Overwatch League experience. Their head coach does, though. So it'll be interesting to see what this team does. I'm curious to see how well they do. The Atlantic Conference, to me, is in a weird spot because I think a lot of the good players from the Atlantic Conference that weren't on New York, Philly, or London left. Like Boston, for example. Boston lost a bunch of players, something they're weaker. Houston looks like they might be the same, and they might not have improved enough to really kind of stand out among some of these really good teams. Pacific looks like it may be the stronger conference this year. So I'm interested to see where a team like Atlanta can finish, where you're not playing a lot of Pacific teams. You only play 10 of your games are against Pacific teams, but you only you're not playing the Gladiators more than once, or the Dynasty more than once, or the Valiant more than once. You're just playing them once. So there's gonna be some interesting teams, I think, to look at and see where they go. But this is one of the most interesting teams to me because I don't know what to expect with them, and it makes it kind of interesting. So I'm excited to see what they do. I'm excited to see how they end up doing by the end of the season. I'm excited, of course, to see DeFran and how long he lasts, if he lasts. It'll be a very, very intriguing team to watch grow throughout the season. But that's what my thoughts are. A little bit shorter than some of the other ones. Some of that comes to the fact that it's only 8 players. Some of it comes down to the fact I don't really know a lot of these players and their play styles, but I have some idea for some of them. What's nice is you have someone who kind of helped popularize goats. So obviously, even if he's not going to be playing very often, since he's a two-way player, he can give some input or some advice. But overall, this to me looks like a team that can find success in goats or outside of goats. They don't need to be playing that triple tank, triple support that looks like it's going to be super dominant. So I'm excited to see where this team goes. They are one of my favorite expansion teams just because of the I like the look of the team, but also I just like the team itself. I think it's a very interesting group of players they have together, so I'm curious to see how they do together. But that's everything I have for you. I'm going to stop talking about random stuff now, so if you enjoyed, consider liking and subscribing. Helps out a lot, but I will see you all in the next video. Let me know down below what you think about this Atlanta Reign team, but I'll see you all in the next video. Pretty sure I already said that. Yeah, bye-bye.